this is ridiculous. I'm not even going to look into if this game is good because I can't shoot an arrow straight up, and this is a step back. This game's garbage. We have no idea what this means. No one in the team has said anything, and everything everyone's saying is just guessing. At this point, I'm questioning if they can do this kind of stuff right. Like, it just seems like they keep shooting themselves in the foot with this stuff.
Let's talk games. Avowed. Obviously, it's been out. Cohh, you mentioned you've been playing it.
Avowed is really, it's an interesting project in terms of how much of a mixed bag it is. And it's also very interesting in terms of like how we've seen expectations and managed expectations. Like this game, Avowed, does some things really, really well. Like the combat is a lot of fun. The exploration is actually a lot of fun. The movement and traversal is super arcadey. If you're a Pillars of Eternity fan, the writing and stuff is fantastic. Like I'm a huge Pillars of Eternity fan. I am emphatically in love with how much lore is jammed into this. Like every time they give me information, I feel like that somebody came through and was like, is there enough PoE lore in that? Is there enough PoE? Okay, let's add some here and put some in. Like, and I love that because I felt the exact opposite in Dragon Age of Veilguard, where I was basically begging for them to please make me feel like this is a Dragon Age game, and they just didn't. That's the opposite in this game, where it's clear that they tried extensively to make the game feel like a Pillars of Eternity game. The locations, the enemies, the dialogue, all of that. I love it. It's too much for some people. In fact, to the point where they're like, not only do I not know this lore, but I just feel like the characters are spouting lore at me and not actually being people. And I get that. I understand that, which is kind of like, it's an interesting line that Obsidian had to walk, because they needed to make people that are fans of the franchise like me make it feel like Pillars of Eternity, but also have to bring in an entire new audience that may have nothing or know nothing about it. Right. And may not be interested in it. Let's be real. So that's been a point of contention. And the major issue with this, and I don't want to say it's an issue with the game. I don't know if this is an issue with the game or an issue with us or an issue with anyone really. Maybe it's just a human thing. But the thing that's been interesting about this game is people expect things from this game that the game never said they were going to give them. In fact, in some cases, they numerous times said that they weren't going to get that. That's not the kind of game it was. But the game comes out, videos get made being like, look at all this stuff that isn't in this game. And then without even looking at what the game does well, people just go, oh, so you're telling me that Oblivion could do this, but Avowed couldn't? Oh, Skyrim could do that, but Avowed can't? Game's garbage, trash. How is it like this 15 years later?
Yeah.
Like, this is ridiculous. I'm not even going to look into if this game is good because I can't shoot an arrow straight up, and the NPCs don't have day-night cycles. This is a step back. This game's garbage. And the thing that's crazy about that is it's like, they never said this game was a sandbox. They never said that this was going to be the next Skyrim. Look at the game this was based on, Outer Worlds. A lot of the stuff in this game is exactly the same. I mean, if you were to make that video about Oblivion and Skyrim versus Witcher 3, it'd say a lot of the same stuff. So it made this weird thing where people that don't even know what the game is, they don't even know what's good about it, are swearing it off because it doesn't have things that they didn't say would be in the game. And they go, how are you playing this game? Haven't you seen the Oblivion versus Avowed video? I was going back and forth with Gene Park about this on Twitter, where it's like, okay, the problem with that conversation, the problem is when you do a comparison, and this goes, funny enough, back to that Cry Wolf thing we were talking about earlier. Like, when's the right time to complain? If you watch that video, and I've watched both of them, of Oblivion and Skyrim versus this game, they absolutely ping a whole bunch of things that an immersive sandbox game has versus a narrative ARPG. Tons of things. Day-night cycles, objects not being simulated, NPCs having full AI, tons of stuff. And the problem is, if you look at that objectively, those videos are ridiculous. They're ridiculous and they mean nothing, because our game, like Avowed, is not trying to do a lot of those things. Avowed is not, every NPC doesn't have a house in Avowed. So how could they have a day-night cycle? Like all of this, they don't have itineraries. There's no AI in them. They're placeholders. But the problem is that by looking at those videos and going, look how ridiculous it is that this stuff isn't in it, the game's garbage, no real person that's looking at both sides can take those videos seriously. And that means that we can't have the very real discussion of what Avowed is doing isn't enough and should be better. So like the thing that I was pointing out is, it's like, no, did we expect the NPCs in Avowed to all have a house, to all have AIs, to be fully simulated with an itinerary where they walk around and do things all day? Like, did we expect that from Avowed? No, we didn't expect that. But we did expect NPCs and cities to be more than just a static thing standing there. We did expect more immersive mechanics than we got. Those are real discussions that I feel we can have. There are things in Avowed that absolutely could be done better and absolutely needs some work and absolutely, especially for a $70 price tag, should be fixed, updated, or changed. But we can't really have that conversation when people are swearing the game off through hugely popular YouTube videos, saying that there's features that the devs didn't even say were going to be in the game aren't in it. You know what I'm saying? Like it obfuscates all of this stuff. And it's loud, it's vacuous, it's completely meaningless. And worst of all, you now have people swearing off the game that don't even know what the game does well.
Right.
They have no idea why people like the game. They don't understand. They look at me and they go, how could you possibly like this game? How could you like it? Haven't you seen the Obsidian and Skyrim videos? And I go, I like the game because I'm a PoE fan and I love the narrative. It's gorgeous. I'm loving the exploration. The combat is super fun. The itemization is pretty cool, and I can change my build all the time. The skill system's kind of engaging. Like there's tons of reasons to like the game. There's a lot of good reasons not to, but there's a lot of reasons to as well. It mutes and muddles the conversation on if the game is actually good or not, because a lot of people swearing it off don't even know. They don't even care to know. They don't even care to check. Oh, it doesn't do this stuff, so I don't even care about the game anymore.
Yeah.
Which is honestly like, that sucks for them more than anyone else, because they might like it. Who knows?
Right.
But it ruins and it destroys like all of the, like we can't talk about if the story and the narrative and like how that is and how good it is and stuff like that. It's hard to when everyone else is just screaming about it, not being able to shoot arrows in the air and land in front of you.
I think at the end of the day, it's a bigger, like Avowed, and the conversation around Avowed is like a microcosm of a bigger issue within the gaming space that's just right now, video game conversation and the zeitgeist of anything is like what this does wrong. It's all negative. It's all anger. It's all like, oh, fuck this shit. I'm pissed. I'm angry. And it's every game that comes out. Every game that comes out.
Jumping to conclusions. Like instead of additively looking at what is good in a game and does it add up to a good experience, they go, what's not in the game and should it make me angry?
Yes, yeah.
And if that answer is yes, then I'm going to get angry and I'm not even going to look at the other stuff. I'm just going to get angry and say that the game sucks. I'm not going to even blink or care to look at if there's anything good in it. I'm just going to watch a few YouTube videos and get mad.
I'm trying to find the host from Twitch, but they're putting a cap on highlights of 100 hours for every streamer.
Bots.
It sucks, but it's also like, I don't know. They gave some stats about it, and it basically boils down to like, hey, we were paying a lot of money and no one really watched the VODs. Zach Busey did some reporting on this. He said multiple staffers familiar with the matter claim this will allegedly save Twitch, quote, several $100,000 a year. The original plan was allegedly to phase out highlights entirely, but they decided on a middle ground that maintains 100 hours of storage. I guess their reasoning with VODs is that VODs disappear on most channels after, is it 60 days?
Yeah. Or that most people are, using YouTube now, which I think is
for VODs,
arguably the best thing ever. Like if they had ever wanted people to multi-stream on YouTube harder, like this is basically them saying you need to be multi-streaming on YouTube moving forward. Like if you have the capabilities to do it, you need to do it because then your VODs will be on YouTube for as long as you want. No caster, especially daily streamers, like 2 months to go through 4,000+ hours of content. And then assuming you're on a connection that can actually move that amount of data quickly, like that's a whole other thing as well. Then you have to bring in caps and things like that. So time limit alone should have been at least 6 months, if not longer, stage, whatever. But imagine if Twitch had, I don't know, partnered with an offsite storage solution and been like, hey, we'll help facilitate you move your data there. Let us know what you want to do. You can pay them and we'll give them access to your channel and they'll just move it all over there and you can have it as long as you want, et cetera, et cetera. Like there are so many different ways this could have been done that would not feel like a slap to the face to the casters that have this amount of data. This is one of the worst possible ways they could have done it. Yeah. And they've also, don't get me wrong, it had to be done because what they're doing now, it shouldn't have been on since the beginning. The fact that it's been on for this long is crazy. It had to be done. But acting like they now have to rip the Band-Aid off is just like, dude, it's been a decade almost. Like, you don't need, come on, man. You're not that hard off for money. Like, it's not even gonna save them that much. Like, I don't know. Whole thing just seems like another very poorly managed Twitch PR event. Like, they just, at this point, I'm questioning if they can do this kind of stuff right. Like, it just seems like they keep shooting themselves in the foot with this stuff.
The Marvel Rivals team it came out and said that a Marvel Rivals director had been let go in the US based team was also let go. They were laid off. Said, this is such a weird industry, ... My stellar, talented team just helped deliver an incredibly successful new franchise in Marvel Rivals for NetEase Games, ... And we were just laid off. Oh well, times are tough. Let's find these incredible people new jobs because we all need to eat, right? And then he went on to talk about people that he worked with and on the team and, you know, promoted them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so that, of course, like blew up and took over social media pretty quickly. In actuality, it was, I think, like 6 to 8 people that worked on an R&D team here in the States that were let go. Obviously, like losing jobs, never a good thing, especially in the video game industry. But it blew the fuck up because everyone was like, well, this game is doing so well.
To put it fair, the guy worded the tweet like he was an important part of what they were doing at the time.
Yeah.
He made it sound like, how is this game so successful and we're still getting fired anyway?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you got fired because that was never the plan probably to keep you hired for long. Even on large AAA titles, like a role is finished on that title, so they are let go. I think in this case, it was a combination from what I understand. Like they could have still done stuff, but NetEase has been scaling down internationally on all sides for a while. And this was part of them scaling back. I don't know if they were public about the situation. Like if they were contractors, we don't know that. Was their job did it already have terminating times? The guy's post didn't make it sound like it did, but you know, so that means that's information we'll never know. But yeah, that's very common to have like either contracted positions or, you know, when you're done with this on this project, we don't need you anymore for this. Yeah. We're not going to pay you to just stand around.
The full statement from NetEase said, we recently made the difficult decision to adjust Marvel Rivals development team structure for organizational reasons and to optimize development efficiency for the game. This resulted in a reduction of a design team based in Seattle that is part of a larger global design function in support of Marvel Rivals. We appreciate the hard work and dedication of those affected and will be treating them with confidentiality and respectfully with recognition for their individual contributions. We are investing more, not less, into the evolution of the growth of this game. We're excited to deliver new superhero characters, maps, features, and content to ensure engaging live service experience for our worldwide player base.
But to be honest, like at this point, I feel like to properly analyze the situation, we need a lot of information we don't have, particularly like their positions, what they were told, like how long they were, like, for instance, were they told they were going to be able to work for another 2 years and they got fired early? That's kind of messed up. Like, that'd be something absolutely to consider. At the same time, were they told specifically that their job is temporary and that it could end at any point? That's another important thing to consider. So yeah, it's tough.
I guess in terms of sales, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 announced that they have sold 2 million units in the game's first 2 weeks. This was 6 days ago, so I don't know what they're currently at with 3 weeks, but the game is doing well. 2 million
JCBP,
units man. Yeah, has nothing to scoff at whatsoever. And I've heard nothing but great games, great experiences, and how great of a game that is from kind of everyone that's played it. I would even say like people that aren't necessarily into that type of game are like, no, that game's the real deal. It's really, 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 really good.
Played it for about 3 hours before the show. It's so good.
Yeah.
It's so good.
How many hours do you have in it completely?
Oh man, let's take a look here. I am currently at 100.7 hours.
You got to be getting close to the end, no?
No.
No, not at all. I thought it was around 120 hours.
Bro, I haven't even like started the map I'm on basically.
So there's no hope before Wilds for you, eh? That ship is sailed.
Well, my goal is to get Avowed done.
Okay, get Avowed done.
I'm not even trying to get KCD2 done before Monster Hunter Wilds. No, not even trying. You know, I decided at the beginning of February, like I'm not, in every game that I play for the foreseeable future, I'm going to take my time in. I tried to do this, like, let me rush to finish this game and that game last year. Let me see if I can get this done before this comes out. And it's like, it just led to so many playthroughs ending poorly.
Yeah.
Like it
kind of burned out.
Like, yeah, you know, when you've decided mentally that you are done with a game, it doesn't matter how much fun you're having in it. It affects it. It affects how you feel in the game.
Sure.
Like because you're mentally somewhere else. You're mentally like, let me just get this done so I can get to the next thing, or you're thinking about the deadline and stuff like. So I've removed that from the equation.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm doing my best this year to just manage expectations.
Chat wanted me to bring up, and rightfully so. It's weird because there's not like a post about it. They didn't like say anything as a company that I've seen. But Chris Wilson, who we've had on this show, has been on countless shows, is apparently no longer the director of Path of Exile.
Yeah. Now, hold on. Now, unless anything new has come out, the only thing that's based on is the fact that they saw an NZ business entry that shifted it to Jonathan. So we have no idea what this means. We don't know if Chris left the project. He hasn't said anything. There's no LinkedIn posts. No one in the team has said anything, and everything everyone's saying is just guessing.
The initial tweet was, just saw the news that Chris Wilson has stepped down as director of Path of Exile. Hope they make some sort of send-off post. Chris is responsible for a very, very large chunk of my gaming hours and saying how much effort he put into Path of Exile 07. And then no one said anything after that.
Yada King says, I think there's a clip from Ziz saying that he asked Chris personally. Oh, here we go. Okay, hold on. Someone's linking a clip.
We do know that he's gone from GDD because I asked him. He doesn't work there anymore.
Oh.
I mean, that's...
Well, there you go. Okay. Well,
that's
damn.
pretty much confirmed. I mean,
if Ziz talked to the guy, yes, I would say that that's about confirmed. Yeah. But then this is weird. That means that he did leave the company and they're not making a public statement about it.
And he's not either, right? So I don't know. Maybe there's...
That's weird.
Yeah. Maybe there's something nefarious.
That's weird. Hopefully we'll hear soon from GGG.